Well, the Packers survived in LA, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't lose this time, which is nice, ladies and gentlemen. This is nice. Let's go. Let's hit it to the intro.
This is Tom Grossi, and you're watching the PackReacts podcast.
Let's go.
Welcome to PackReacts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Hadler. Along with our other co-host, we got Mike Arvonio. And we welcome you to PackReacts, folks, as I am wearing the cheesehead representing the pack here today for the fun of it. Figured to do something nice for us. Yeah, and so is Mike. He's carrying the G as always. And we are actually back on X.
We are. We are live.
So we are back on both. Thank you. Finally, Elon Musk for allowing it to happen.
Well, don't thank him. We're paying him to do it.
Well, there we go. Yeah, that's true. But we're back on. We're back on, Mike. So appreciation there.
I do thank Elon for other things, though. I am a fan of Elon Musk. Hopefully that doesn't get us canceled. But yes, I am a fan of Elon. Although, I don't love that policy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Premium. But we are what do you call it? We do have a blue check mark now, so I guess we're cool in that regard.
There we go.
Our $11 a month is going to good causes, a blue check mark. So we're not famous. Not yet.
Not yet.
Jeremy would be famous before I am.
That's true. But we talk here tonight of our Pack Reacts, and what we're going to be covering tonight is obviously last week's game against the Rams, and then give you a preview of this upcoming week's game against the Cardinals, which are one guest, John, who has been on the show before, not the recent John that came on, the one before that we all know. He will be going to the Packers game this week, so stay tuned for that. We'll try and have him on the show next week to get his reaction and his feedback on that.
And that is correct. And just a shout out to John. He and his family gracefully allowed me to, watch the Vikings game with them at Kettle of Fish. It was a very fun time. Met his brother who's in our league, in our fantasy league. I don't know if anyone's watching. Feel free to comment if you're watching. But, that was a nice time. So thank you for letting me join the family there. But they are all going to be out for the Arizona game.
There we go.
Should be exciting time. It's the second game in Lambeau this year. Third game, right? We had the Colts and then the Vikings and now the Cardinals. So third game of the season. As a reminder, Jeremy and I will be at the 49ers game in Lambeau, and I will likely be at the Bears game in Chicago. So should be a fun time.
Micah, if you're interested in going to the Dolphins game, my dad's got one extra ticket, 50-yard line if you want that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, are you going or are you trying to sell them?
We're trying to sell. We only have one ticket.
Well,
one ticket only.
I'm probably I mean, if it was like a thing and like there was a reason to go, but if it's just to go watch the game,
Well, there you go, folks. But yeah, so why don't we break this game here, Mike? What do we make of this game? Because we beat the Rams 24-19. What stuck out to you from watching this game? Obviously, the big thing that stuck out to me was Jordan Love's pick six, almost a safety. That was a nightmare throw.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. On the show, but I can't lie. I don't know. I was working towards the game, so it was kind of a boring game. And no, I did watch. I was just kind of watching in the background.
Okay.
It was pretty boring, the game. Like, I was pretty concerned how flat they looked. And kind of, I have a lot going on at work, and I just used the time to kind of multitask. But that interception, I'm not really sure what Jordan was trying to do there. He should have taken the safety. I think that's what he was trying to avoid doing, take a safety by throwing it away. But he was just falling down, and there was no way he could get enough air on the ball to make it uncatchable, which is what he needed to do at that moment. And he just basically floated it right into the cornerback's hand for an easy walk-in pick six. So that cannot happen. Jordan Love knows that can't happen, and we did not pay him all that money to make plays like that, and it could have cost us. I mean, that's 7 points. I guess if you say that would have been a safety, I guess it's 5 points. Yeah. But no, that couldn't happen. So that was really bad. But talking about interceptions and turnovers, our boy Xavier McKinney came up with his 5th interception in 5 games and should have had a 6th. He dropped it, but he also got a fumble recovery, which was a big thing. So basically 2 turnovers. The defensive player of the week in the NFC, and that move was looking like a complete and utter steal. Although I mean we paid him a lot of money, right? But a complete great move by the Packers to get Xavier McKinney, and it's something like Packers are not usually blockbuster free agent players.
Yeah,
they took a big swing this year for McKinney, and it's completely paying off. So I'm really excited about McKinney. We've already kind of talked about it on the show, but he just keeps week in and week out showing that he's likely at this point maturing into the best safety in the league.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, it's really exciting. Really exciting. He's still young, and if he keeps maturing into the player he's becoming, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's going to become a perennial All-Pro maybe in Green Bay.
Definitely. I mean, number 5. I mean, we can make the easy bet. Mike, just put number 6 on for this week to make the easy bet. No, I mean, he had a fantastic game. He's showing he's like a defensive player of the year. Really showing like he's Charles Woodson that we wanted to see out of this guy. I mean, he's coming up with the fumble recovery. He's making plays. He's making stops, and he's being very helpful in that defense, especially in that secondary.
I agree. I totally agree. Being a playmaker, Yankees. Sorry, guys. I'm also watching the Yankee team in the background. So if I, what do you call it? I'm looking away or, go like this at all or get mad. I mean, that's also possible. It's probably because something happened in the game. They just scored. So 2-0. We can talk about baseball in a little bit. I know Jeremy probably doesn't want to talk about that, but I'm going to have to. So this is a football podcast, specifically a Packers podcast, but there's other stuff going on. So, so going back to the defense. I mean, so I know you always have prepared things. I wanted to say one thing about the defense, but do you have anything that you want to start us off on?
I mean, for the defense, I'll say like they did make some good plays. I mean, the turnovers especially were very helpful. They were pretty good. The pass rush is what still concerns me.
That's what I was
defense. Say. Yeah, go ahead on that one.
I was going to say. Yeah, so in the Tennessee game where they completely knocked the socks off of Will Levis.
Yeah.
And were completely up in his the whole game. The pass rush is really fallen off.
Yeah.
Since then. And this game against the Rams was really, a great example of how it seemed like that Tennessee game was more of an anomaly than a trend. They just were not playing well. And, I really was giving Lucas Van Ness a good kind of, vote of confidence from that Tennessee game. But he was kind of a no-show against the Rams. But also, we're paying Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary a lot of money, and both of them are not playing up to par. Kenny Clark did have a nice play that, I think either got a sack on or stopped the run. I forget. But, he was basically the first time I've heard his name all season. Now, I know maybe I missed some of the Eagles game and the Indianapolis game. I think I said that, and somebody saying that he actually had a big play, and apologies for missing that one. But, Kenny needs to step it up, I think. And Rashawn Gary needs to step it up. Both these guys are guys that we rely on, and they're supposed to be, the best part of this front four of the Packers, this new 4-3 defense.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of non-existent, in my opinion. Happy to take any feedback from the audience if anyone disagrees, but I don't think either of them are playing anywhere near Pro Bowl level, anywhere near upper tier in this league level at this point, and we need it from them. Devontae Wyatt was playing well, but then he got hurt. You know, we need some more production from this front seven. You can't give Matthew Stafford as much time as he had. I played what's his name? Who's the quarterback? The receiver they had going for him.
For the Rams?
Yeah.
They had DeMarcus Robinson. They had Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell, yeah. I played him in fantasy because he was available in a lot of free agents in a lot of my fantasy leagues. And I knew that he was going to have a big day, and I think he had a decent day. I don't know. I think the Packers defense still has not arrived.
No.
Although we're getting a lot of turnovers, it's still not as dominant as I need them to be.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, we obviously lead the league in takeaways. We still lead them in that. Hopefully we get Jair back, which we'll talk about in a bit. But no, that pass rush has to get better. So does that defensive line. I really think if that pass rush and that defensive line come together, Mike, this could be a really good defense set because the secondary, it's good for right. It's going to be fine. I mean, the safety's fantastic. The CBs will get better, I will say, with Jair hopefully coming back this week. It creates more better presence for the secondary. But really, that pass rush has been weak. That defensive line has got to make stops because if you look at the amount of times the Packers have given up a lot of rushing yards to opposing teams, you saw Saquon Barkley had over 100 yards. You saw Jonathan Taylor had about 100 yards. Now, Tony Pollard, he didn't have much because the offensive line stunk, but still, like, they have got to do a bit better job of stopping the run a bit. And they were doing fine with that whenever the Rams put the backup guy in, Blake Corum, for like that third down goals at the 1 yard line. They kept making stops, which was good. And then when Kyren Williams comes in, he makes the play. He gets the touchdown for them. So they got to be a lot better against the run and also create a lot of pressure because that's got to be a big thing. And then, those are the two big things I would say on the defense, though, Mike.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they allowed too much on defense. I think they relied on turnovers they got, the interception and the fumble, and those are big. But they just weren't very dominant on defense and let a pretty banged up Rams team kind of go up and down the field on them. What I wanted to say was the Packers really didn't show the loss of Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson very glaringly. I think the offense had a decently productive day. Nothing, out of this world. But, I think obviously Tucker Kraft had a huge game. I think Tucker Kraft, and unfortunately, I was going against in my, not the fantasy league we're in, but the fantasy league at home that I have like actually money on. I was actually undefeated going into this week, and I played I got 160 points, but the person going against me had 170. They had Tucker Kraft. But Tucker Kraft actually killed me. I was actually rooting for him not to score at one point because I wanted Josh Jacobs to get it. But the second touchdown. But that long touchdown that Tucker Kraft had was super impressive. And that's actually interesting because, Luke Musgrave, who was supposed to be the top guy in that draft, they obviously picked Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft. I don't know back to back, but I think there was somebody picking between them, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe they were back to back.
I think it was in between because I think it was you picked Musgrave and then I think it was Reed in the same draft, and then you picked Kraft later.
Right. Musgrave is supposed to be the higher one up in the depth chart, but Musgrave is apparently hurt with an ankle injury.
Yep.
He's been hurt quite a bit in his career, and he really hasn't performed up to what we thought we were getting. But to the contrary, I think Tucker Kraft this season has really taken a step. He looks confident from a video I saw of him like being mic'd up. He sounds like a confident guy. I was impressed by this game by Tucker Kraft. It really was. I mean, against the Vikings game, he made a mistake. I think he fumbled it or dropped the ball. I forget. I think he fumbled it, right? And against the Vikings?
Yeah,
The
he
Rangers
did. He
bad
did
fumble.
fumble against the Vikings.
I think
Yes.
he fumbled. Yeah. So like he hasn't been perfect this season, but this game was just out of this world impressive. We really haven't seen a performance by a tight end like that in Green Bay since probably Jermichael Finley.
Mhm.
I guess you could say maybe Bobby Tunyon had some good games, but nothing really like that since Jermichael Finley. So, very impressed with Tucker Kraft, and I hope he keeps it up, especially when I'm not going against him in fantasy. But no, that long touchdown was super impressive. I mean, he he got the wheels going over there, hit the gas, and just didn't they couldn't catch him. I mean, and he's blocking well, catching well. That's what we need in a tight end. And I don't know, that was a super impressive game from me. I think he was my player of the game. The huge bright spot that came out of it, and I'm just hoping that he keeps that up because that is a whole bit different dynamic that Packers offense hasn't had in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, especially like we haven't seen like for that offense, Mike. We haven't seen the offense like be so good and use like so many different weapons. I mean, obviously you had back in the day, like in 2020, when we had some good tight ends, but like it really what I feel like this is kind of like a preview of the 2011 like that great weapons we had. Jermichael Finley, you had Andrew Corliss, you also had Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Jennings, Jones, and you had all these guys. And I think that's kind of similar to what we're looking at here, Mike, because now you look at Jane Reed, who's like a Debo Samuel typical type gadget player. Then, of course, you got other breakout players. You got strong physical guys, and also speedy here too. Then you got a solid running back. If you use him a lot more, it would be helpful. I just think we got the great weapons for us to use and dominate on that field. But honestly, I think we're still a bit ruggish here and there, especially in the red zone. I'm still a little concerned there. I would like to see him get better. But yeah, Tucker Kraft had an amazing day. Honestly, he had. I mean, that catch run, it was just like he could do so much. Now, obviously, Luke Musgrave's dealing with a ankle injury. Thank you. He's dealing with the ankle injury, but I think it's the next up mentality. Like last year, remember when like we saw so many injuries happen? Like they kept getting over the hump because they did not matter who it was. They still fought through and they won. And that's gotta be one of the recipes if you're battling for this football team to win games. And I'm just very happy to see Tucker Kraft have a breakout game. I wanted him in fantasy, I couldn't get him, but I mean, he played a heck of a game there. I mean, I was also appreciative of Jordan Love how he responded right after that interception. How he responded from that pick six because it was his first pick six spike in his entire career as a quarterback, but he responded right back away and he got those quick touchdowns. I mean, there were some questionable plays that he made that I just didn't think he should have done it, especially the one to Jane Reed and like the first drive. I think it was the first drive or second drive, whatever, in the first quarter. Threw that like deep ball to Jane Reed, like triple coverage, and Jane Reed pulls it out and he makes it. But like that's just a Brett Favre play. You don't make that. You just don't want to do that, attempt that again.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that play. That was an insane play. I mean, I don't think Jaden Reed had a huge day, but that was an amazing play. That was probably the best catch I've seen in a Packers uniform, since like the Hail Marys in like Arizona in the playoffs. He just chucked that up there into triple coverage, and I mean it was a perfect pass, but I think he just chucked it up and he just kind of the right place, right time. But I mean, what a catch by Jay Reed! Basically, I don't even think he saw the ball. I think he just put his hands up and caught it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean that was a great play. That was an absolute great play. That was the play of the game. It was the play of the year so far. Maybe in the NFL. I mean that was a great play.
It was. I absolutely was a great play. I appreciate that on him. And Reed was involved. He had 4 catches for 78 receiving yards. He had 2 carries on 19 rushing yards, which was good. The jet sweep there. I will criticize Dontavian Wicks though, Mike, because they could have ended the game a lot easier and quicker if he had caught the ball when the ball's right in his hands and went through his arms and he completely dropped it.
Yeah, Wicks has not had a great season. He really hasn't.
I mean, he had a great game last week, but still.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, against Minnesota.
Right. But yeah, I've been a little bit disappointed with Wicks because he had a good season last year, but he's definitely taken a step back this year.
Yeah.
Don't think it's something he can't turn around. So he
Mhm.
definitely probably will turn it around. But I'm hoping. Sounds like Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson come back, so he probably won't have as much what do you call it, opportunities. But real quick, Garrett Cole pitching lights out right now. So
Great.
knock on wood, that stays the same, but it's completely pitching lights out.
Hopefully your team loses, Mike.
Well, on that note, would we like to talk about baseball for a little bit?
No, we're still on this game, Mike. We gotta finish this up here. We gotta finish. We're not done yet with this
We're not
Packers
done.
game. We're not done here.
Yeah, I mean, in review, right? Like I said, I thought it was a more boring game. They pulled it out in the end. So obviously, that's glad that they pulled this out because if they lost this game, that's probably the season. I don't really think that you can come from losing back to back against Minnesota. Against Minnesota, and then the Rams, two conference opponents. It's going to kill you in the what do you call it, tiebreaker down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's not necessarily the season, but it's not good.
Yeah.
So now the Packers have a winning record, 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Big game against Arizona. This is a big game at home. They need to get this win, go 4-2. I mean, I said this last week. This 4-game stretch it's a stretch where they could win, if not all 4, they could win 3 of them and really set ourselves up well for likely what's looking like a wild card run at this point since the Vikings are 5-0. So it's looking like a wild card run, but there are 3 spots in the wild card, and there's no reason why they can't be the top spot or the second spot or the third spot. So everything is still in front of this team, but they got to start playing better.
They do. They absolutely.
The Rams game was not it. We kind of escaped with a win. They need to play better.
They do need to play better. I will give credit to our rookie Evan Williams, who made that great play to end the game, who had that great pass breakup to knock it out of hands. I think he deserves more play, Mike. He had a solid game as a rookie. Now there were some bumps here and there for him, but overall he played a really solid game, and I think he needs to get more reps in. I don't think he's obviously not going to replace Bullard or Xavier McKinney, obviously, but I think you could use him at a different nickel coverage or nickel package. I could see him do that. I mean, I wouldn't mind if you put him as a corner as well, like a slot corner, because that has been one of the big things is what we've been hurting with Keyshawn Nixon. That's been one of our weaknesses, hurt us a bit. So I wouldn't mind seeing Evan Williams get some more action. If you put him to cover somebody at CB or tight end, would appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good play. I think the ball was a little bit behind him.
Yeah.
So, it's not something that I'm gonna really give him a lot of credit for.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was in the right position. I think he made a nice play on the ball, but it wasn't anything crazy. It was kind of what he needed to do in that point in time. But yeah, I mean, definitely happy for him to get more playing time. Obviously, I hope Jair comes back next week. I think that has been a big loss that we've had these past 2 weeks.
Yep, definitely.
But I'm hoping that I think Eric Stokes has been a little bit quiet, which is kind of good. I mean,
that's good. Yeah.
Deep, so he's been serviceable, fine. So that's good. He hasn't made any big plays, but I think he's been what we need him to do so far. So I think the Packers are okay. Quarterback at the moment. Yep. Aaron Judge is a nice double. But yeah.
Nice. All right. Do we want to head to this upcoming week, or do we want to talk to your baseball?
Yeah, let's talk about baseball for a little bit.
All right.
So what happened, Jeremy?
My team choked the bed. Let's see. Don't know how to play baseball. Let's see. What else? They reminded me of last year when they lost to Arizona. It was a slap in the face, and it was just like 2011 all over again. You win a lot of games in the regular season. You win the division for the first time forever, and you lose the first round.
Mm. Yeah, the Mets are hot. I have some friends that are really big Mets fans. We were actually watching the game last night at the office when Lindor hit that grand slam. We were all watching. It was pretty exciting. But I'm a Yankees fan. That's why I'm watching Yankees game. Here's my thing about baseball. Like, you won't see me having a Yankees podcast anytime soon. It's just too many games to watch and really get like passionate about it to me. So I like to turn it on when the playoffs come around and it actually means something. Yeah, I'll go to games here and there. You know, it's fun. It's more for like entertainment, I think, like social aspect. But it's just kind of background noise during the season. It's 150 games. How can you watch every single one? But in October,
I watch majority of them.
Really?
Yeah, I try to watch almost every game I possibly can. I will probably watch like if there's a game, if there's like let's just say Mike, a game's every day in a week. I will probably watch 6 out of 7 times in that week.
Come on, Jeremy. You only in college once. You got to go out more.
Well, I do go out, but I watch the game afterwards.
Got it. Okay. So
you gotta watch the tape. You gotta watch the tape, Mike.
What do? You DVR it or something?
I'll watch the highlights and I'll also like look at the
that doesn't count though.
Well, I'm not done. Well, I'm not done yet. I will also DVR it and watch like, okay, what went wrong in this game, and then how can it break it down? Like I try to break it down, like, okay, who did well and who didn't do well, and then watch who did not do well.
Well, I'm now watching because it's the playoffs, and you know, what do you call it? You know, I'm sure most people on the podcast know I'm not from Wisconsin, just like Jeremy's not from Wisconsin. Which is why he is, what do you call it, a Phillies fan. Well, I'm a Yankees fan because I do live in New York, although for football I do not like either New York team. Don't hate the Jets. Do not like the Giants, although the Giants have been pretty non-existent recently, so I haven't cared too much about them either, but I do not like the Giants. But anyway, you know, I am a Yankees fan, so I do not hate the Mets, and I will root for the Mets. I am rooting for a Subway Series. I think that'd be awesome. You know, obviously I was alive, so I'm 29, so another run. Anyway, I was alive for the last Subway Series, but I was 5 years old, so I do not remember anything like how New York was at that point. I just think it'd be insane, absolutely insane for a Subway Series in like the social media era with like memes and stuff. I think it's just going to be really fun. So I'm really hoping that the Mets Yankees World Series. Right now, you know, the Yankees can close or move on tonight, and it'll be only the Mets and Yankees that have moved on. But of course, you know, you still have the championship series on both sides. So you have the Guardians, which won earlier, so that'll come down to a game 5. And then the Dodgers and Padres, who are already down to a game 5, right? Because the Dodgers. So tomorrow's game 5.
Yep.
So so it'll be interesting, but. It's looking like, you know, knock on wood, if the Yankees can hold this up, they're up 3 right now. It'll be the Yankees and Mets that move on, and then it'll be whoever plays them with less rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, well, here's the thing, Mike. I don't know if you know it, because since you're not that much into baseball, do you know the interesting statistic about the Milwaukee Brewers? About the playoffs?
Didn't they like not win at home or something?
Whoever beats the Brewers goes to the World Series.
Really?
It happens about 8.5 out of 10 usually. It didn't happen last year. If you look at Arizona, they went to the World Series. Phillies did it in 2008. Dodgers did it multiple times. Washington did it when they went to the World Series. I believe the Chicago Cubs did it as well. The Cardinals did it, I remember, in 2011. There's been a lot of times where this happens. And that's their statistics. So if you're going to industry statistic, folks, the Mets are most likely going to go to the World Series. However, I personally don't want that to happen because I hate the Mets. And I'd rather go see the Dodgers win because I love Ohtani. And he will be the greatest baseball player of all time. Better than Babe Ruth. No offense to you Yankee fans, but it's going to happen.
Well, I still think there's a lot to figure out, but I really hope it's a Subway Series. That'd be awesome. So that is what I'm hoping for. I do hope the Yankees win because the Yankees obviously the most winning franchise in any sport. I guess number 2 winning franchise in any sport is.
I mean, there's multiple here, Mike. There's multiple here. It's not us.
It's not?
No, because if you go NBA, you go look at the Lakers, you go look at the Celtics, and the Celtics now have the most, and they're at 17, I believe, and the Lakers are at 16. We're the most in football.
What are the Packers? 15?
No, we are 13.
13? Sorry. 13.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty much, because a lot of people will say, and I don't totally agree with it, but a lot of people will say for the Yankees World Series, a lot of them was the Yankees played against plumbers and people who had second jobs and who were milkmen out there. And pretty much the Yankees took advantage of all that, and they were facing the easiest competition out there. And Babe Ruth was playing against a plumber, is what some people say. I don't agree with that personally, but that's what the.
What do you mean? I see. I'm not a historian of sports, so you're saying that back in the day, they were not really like very good.
Yeah, they were. A lot of people had second jobs, Mike. Like
right, kind of like the. Oh man. That was an interesting play. But
yeah,
it's kind of like a cross league, right? Where like these guys are just doing this on the side. Yeah, they're not actually making any money from it.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, so they're pretty much. It's like second jobs is what a lot of those players had second jobs. Now there was fantastic players back in the day for baseball, but a majority or average players had second jobs. Like that was the big thing, and that was in sports in general. There was in football the milkmen. There was in basketball a lot of plumbers. Like a lot of people will say for the GOAT wise for basketball, that's not Bill Russell because he played against a bunch of plumbers and not so good players. That's why. And he also had a lot of Hall of Famer teammates too. So like that, in my argument, at best, me personally, Mike, on basketball for debates, I would put him number 10 on my all-time list.
Well, we know that Jeremy now thinks that plumbers don't know how to play baseball from this episode. So, but yeah, so obviously baseball will be something we're watching closely, and no, I'm sure Jeremy's hoping that Ohtani or the Padres make it over the Mets, which I don't blame him as a Phillies fan, but we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page. Oh yeah, you're a Guardians fan?
I'm ruining anybody who can beat the Yankees and the Mets. That's all I care, Mike, because I hate the Yankees to shreds because they don't deserve to go to the World Series.
Yeah, do you think they're the Guardians or the Indians?
Indians, I will still say.
I
it's the same with the Commanders. It's the same thing, Mike. Like,
I don't really see what's wrong with the Indians. You know, like.
Well, I don't agree with the logo. That I don't agree with the way that they do the logo personally, but I'm fine with the name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, well, the name Indian is like incorrect, right? Because they thought they were in India when they're not. They're in America, but they didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it was kind of a stretch. But I don't actually hate the name Guardians. I think it actually sounds better, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds better, but no. I mean, I just want to see. Also, if the Yankees lose, it gives the Phillies a better shot at getting Juan Soto.
Yeah,
because he's back. I don't know, because he's gonna go to whoever's the highest paid willing offer, and he's gonna be requesting probably $560 million for his deal. Knowing him, he wants to be the highest paid guy like Ohtani, and that's gonna be insane.
Ohtani's good, man.
He is good. We all knew he was gonna go to the Dodgers, but still.
Okay, what's next? Next game?
Yeah, let's head into.
Oh wait! Can we talk about one thing first?
What is that, Mike?
I want to get your thoughts. So staying in New York, and sorry. We are not staying in New York. We're going across the river to New Jersey. Because they are not, what do you call it, the New York Jets, but instead the New Jersey Jets. What's your thoughts
the Giants?
New Jersey Giants, right? But we're not talking about the Giants. Nothing to talk about there, other than they did beat Seattle, which good for the Giants. But what I was going to ask was, what's your thoughts on Mr. Saleh being unemployed? Another one bites the Rodgers dust.
I think it was a bit early to fire him because personally, you could come back from a 3-loss season because we've seen it happen before. Go against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's your prime example right there. But I think you could have. I think that Saleh was on the hot seat and he was going to get fired. I thought this season if it didn't work out of the Jets. But I think it was a bit too early. I would maybe give it by the trade deadline personally. That's what I would have waited for to give that decision because according to Pat McAfee, he thinks the Jets GM is a smart guy, according to him. And he doesn't think Brian Gutekunst's a smart guy. But like we look at this now of like how bad the Jets have become, and look how great the Packers trade. It makes it even better, Mike, because remember what you said? The only way the Jets win this trade is if they win the Super Bowl. Now it just got a lot harder, and they also don't have one of their guys they trade for, Hassan Reddick. So now it makes it harder. And Packers, we won that trade easily, and we got good picks. We did get good picks out of that. I mean, we would like to see Lucas Van Ness be a lot better, but still, we won the trade, I would say, folks.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that. I actually forgot I said that. Yeah, look, I think what they're realizing is exactly what I said. You're getting an aging Rodgers. Obviously, he's going to be better than what you had last year from Zach Wilson, but Rodgers you've seen has not been what they thought he was going to be. Yeah. And he's bringing the diva-ness with him again. That's the thing with Rodgers. Rodgers likes his guys. Why is Alan Lazard having such a big season?
Because he trusts
him. Rodgers only his bench is clearing in this game.
Oh, fight. We got to fight. Let's go.
What are they even clearing benches for? This is so lame.
Punch Aaron Jones.
He hit him? Yeah, he slid into second, and the guy went to go tag him. And
is this a Chase Utley scenario again, like New York?
What? Do you think that he tried to cleat him?
Yeah, it probably is. That's what they probably think.
I don't really think much happened there, but anyway, here's the thing with Rodgers, right? Okay, so there's an inherent difference in terms of his age and the young guys that are on that team that are the backbone of what the Jets should have been.
Yeah.
And sorry, I wanted to see what happened. Nothing happened.
They try to be like hockey, Mike. They purposely in hockey try to get people to start fighting.
Because he pushed them off. Yeah, he did push them off the face a little bit. But come on, that was so lame. That's such a lame bench clearing thing. That's so lame. So Rodgers is one of these guys where he has his people that he's like mentally on the same page. I think I said this last week when I was talking
about You did say about Gary Wilson, yeah.
And Alan Lazard, has that rapport with him from his time in Green Bay, and that's why people are saying we'll bring Devontae to the Jets. But, Rodgers had all that like news articles about how he was spending all this time with the young guys. Went out to when the Knicks were in the playoffs. He went to those games. He went to the Taylor Swift concert. Like, what do you call it? He went with the Sauce Gardner and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. All those headlines are kind of gone now that it's time to play, and they're not really playing up to snuff. Garrett Wilson's had a pretty mediocre, quiet season. Yep. And that's probably because he's not on the same page as Rodgers, because, it's hard for some of these young guys who, have big egos and are young guys to like probably mesh with Rodgers, I think, and kind of understand where he's coming from mentally, because Rodgers had success when he's on the same page as receivers. Think about Jordy Nelson, think about James Jones, think about Devontae, think about Alan Lazard, right? I don't know if he's achieving that with this younger core. And I think that's the issue. I think their offensive line's not as great as they played that first week.
Yep.
He's been hit quite a bit, and he almost got hurt against the Vikings.
Yeah, he had an ankle injury in that, and he had to play through that bit.
Yeah. So, I think the Jets fans are realizing that Rodgers has a lot of risks to him, especially this part of his career, where he's going to be a diva. And, the downside of that is there's going to be collateral damage. And I think, Saleh is part of the collateral damage. I'm not saying Saleh lived up to his expectations as a coach. I don't think he did. But I think the biggest problem they have is that wasn't even Saleh as a coach. I think it's, Nathaniel Hackett as the offensive coordinator. I think Nathaniel Hackett is a trash coach. I hate it. I hate to say it because I liked him on the Packers. I think he's a nice guy. But there's some people that, basically all you could say about him is that they're a nice guy. And I think that's what you could say about Nathaniel Hackett. I do not think he's a good offensive coordinator. And I think when you have a defensive-minded head coach, you need a really good offensive coordinator. Look at the Commanders right now are having success with Jaden Daniels with, a defensive-minded head coach in his first year because they have Cliff Kingsbury and offensive coordinator. So they almost have like two coaches, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever you have a head coach that is a, offensive-minded guy, you need a really good defensive coordinator. When it's the opposite, you need a really good offensive coordinator. That's why the Packers always struggled on defense, is because not because we haven't put the resources to it, but we didn't have the coaching.
Yeah, Joe Barry.
Now we have Jeff Hafley, and we're hoping it's a step up, but it's still to be determined. Thanks. So on the Jets side, I think Nathaniel Hackett has made a lot of money the past few years in his career, not because of what he's doing out there and the performance his teams are having on the field, but because he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of money to be made in the NFL if you're friends with Aaron Rodgers. Is what I'm seeing. And that's, I think, part of the problem with Rodgers, right? Is that, he obviously is a talented guy, but he wants his guys around him. It's like Devontae Adams wants to be either catching balls from Rodgers or Derek Carr. Well, Rodgers wants his guys around him. And it's either you kind of give in to his demands or, he starts to get pissy on you. And, I think Saleh pissed him off. And, that's going to bring in a run. I think Saleh pissed him off. And that was the end of Saleh and the Jets. And who are they going to pick ultimately? This is we saw with Mike McCarthy. Even though I do think Mike McCarthy's time in Green Bay was kind of over. I think the Jets had to pick one. Rodgers or Saleh, and they picked Saleh. Now, the one thing that is weird to me, it is kind of early in the season. Like, what's their goal? To get their defensive coordinator to be head coach? Like, I don't really get it, what their goal is, unless the only thing that makes sense to me is they try to go for Belichick. That's the only thing that makes sense.
I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening with them. I think Belichick is going to stay with this. He's going to stay with this TV deal. Then next year, I think it's going to change. But then again, Mike, he could just come in and then quit the day he does his press conference. Because he lost to do you not know the famous story about Belichick going to the Jets?
I do know there was a weird situation there, but I think you need to fill me in. I don't know exactly what happened. I do know there was a weird situation. Did they fire him on the first day?
No. So they hired him, and because originally Bill Parcells, his mentor, was the head coach and was going to fire. But everyone thought that Bill Belichick was going to be the new guy because he was Bill Parcells' successor. So they hire him at the start, but between the weeks leading up to it, like his press conference when he was officially about to do it, Robert Kraft kept poaching and tampering a bit to convince him that hey, we're over here. We're ready to go. We're ready to roll. And Robert Kraft kept poaching, and he got away with it. And he got Belichick to literally go in the press conference and literally write, I resign as the Jets coach. And it was the first day of the press conference. And then he left the Jets and went to New England. And that's how his dynasty started there, Mike.
Yeah, I didn't know there was some drama, but I didn't know exactly the story. So thank you.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. And then going back to what you're saying about Rodgers, I mean, if you watch, because I don't know if you watched the game like in London, but if you watch the game of like how he's always relying on the, so in that game, like like obviously you mentioned before, like when you were mentioning last week, Rodgers is at step 15, and other guys are like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and etc. Especially if you watch those shoulder passes, because that's what Rodgers did a lot with Devontae, and he expected that from Gary Wilson. 2 times there was interceptions, and it was on the same exact short pass play to Garrett Wilson. That was the big thing. It happened twice, and he kept trying to do it during the game, and he kept failing because Garrett Wilson didn't know the time and didn't know the rhythm because Rodgers was so far ahead, and then boom, threw it, and it didn't work out. So that happened, and then majority of the guys, Mike, that Rodgers brought to the Jets are gone. The majority, and we also saw Allen Lazard get benched last year when he got paid a nice contract for what he was getting paid that most people wouldn't give him. He got benched majority of last season because of that, and then he finally gets to playing time this year. And then to fully tell you that trade of the players we got back, Mike, you'll like this. First player we got was Lucas Van Ness. Second player, Luke Musgrave. This guy you won't like, but this was the 6th round pick, Anders Carlson. This year, we got Edrin Cooper, we got Jacob Monk, who you like, and Evan Williams.
Yep. I think the Packers ran away with the trade because, again, like you said, or like I said, the only way the Jets win that trade is a Super Bowl. Otherwise, what they did was wasted a bunch of years with the Asian quarterback. That's not going to help them get any better anytime soon in the long run, and they kind of wasted some good years of their young guys. So Rodgers, if he wins you a Super Bowl, that's all worth it, right? But again, that's the only time it's worth it is if he wins a Super Bowl. If he gets you to the AFC Championship game and you lose, you're in the same situation as the Packers kind of were with the younger Rodgers. Yeah. So the only time that trade was worth it is if the Jets win the Super Bowl. Kind of like what happened to the Bucks and the Brady. They won a Super Bowl, it was worth it. So it doesn't seem like the Jets are on the path to win the Super Bowl this year or anytime soon. And this time they actually have Rodgers healthy. So, they had one wasted season and they had this season of Rodgers. I'm sure Rodgers will be back next season.
Yep.
But, if you don't win after 2 more seasons, I think it's time to say thank you, Rodgers, but we're going to move on.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like you get those like guys who are aging, you're training for them last second to like get some last juice out of them to see can they get something good out of it. And majority of the time it doesn't work out. I mean, Brady, he did it. He has been one of the few guys to do it, but most of the time when you try to get those like aging guys and they're like on their last, like the end of their career, they don't pan out. They don't get it. They don't get the job done for them. And that's been the case for majority of it. But no, I just think that with the Jets, I mean, the Packers easily won the trade, but like the Jets are a mess and they're back to square one almost. Like the quarterback position didn't get much better. Like they try to get everything already. Like how we always talk about, Mike, of like if the Broncos trade, they were always one quarterback away after Peyton Manning left because they had everything asset. But what the Jets failed to realize was you need more than just a quarterback. You need the right coach, like right mindset, and who can establish, like as you mentioned before, if you're a good defensive coordinator, you got to have a good, very good offensive coordinator that can actually know and not hire the friends. You can't hire friends because friends in business usually don't work out, folks. They don't. And with Rodgers, like I'm just saying this, Mike, they had to focus more, like they had to have another weapon than Garrett Wilson because obviously a number one guy is good, but you need more than just one guy. And Breece Hall, yeah, he's a good player and everything, but the offensive line, the trenches is the most important part besides the quarterback in the offense, in my opinion.
That's right. And they try to get better there. I mean, look, the Jets were touted to having one of the best teams around them. George Kittle touchdown, by the way. George Kittle's having a good season. But the Jets were touted to have a great team around Rodgers. Rodgers is the missing piece. I think in actuality, we're realizing that the coaching's not good enough, but also, I think the team's probably not as good as we thought they were. But it's still early in the season. Maybe they turn around. Maybe getting rid of Saleh is the spark they need to change something. But I don't really see how getting rid of your head coach to bring your defensive coordinator as the head guy is going to change the team for the better, especially this early in the season. So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation for me. I think Rodgers has a lot to do with it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see how that whole trade has spanned out, Mike. Of what from the last, ever since I would say, Mike, since the Packers 49ers wildcard game we lost to, it has looked a bit better for the Packers. Honestly, it's looked better since what we have seen the past couple of years. We're not in that middle. We're not stuck in the middle of the river. We've slowly getting out of that river, and the Jets are going back into the river. They pretty much made a U-turn. They're right back in the river. They went the wrong path. They made the circle going around 100 times. Packers are finding the yellow brick road and trying to get out of it.
All right, you want to skip to this week and then maybe cut it off? I want to watch the Yankee game.
Yep, on it. All right, so the Packers will be taking on the Cardinals here, ladies and gentlemen, this upcoming Sunday here, 1 o'clock. I will not get the game, but I will use my site that I always use to get the game because the Eagles are playing the Browns, so it's going to be a boring game there, folks. But I don't know about for Mike if he's going to get the game. But no, this should be a very interesting game here, folks, to see. But I will go first before I get into the whole details of the game. I'll go over the injury report because that's important for everyone to know. We'll start with the Packers side. Jair Alexander dealing with a groin injury. He was a limited participant yesterday and today. That's a good sign, but we saw last weekend he was limited and didn't go. So got to really hope for that because we need someone to guard Marvin Harrison Jr. because that dude's a beast. Zane Anderson dealing with an elbow injury. He was a full participant yesterday and Thursday, should be good to go. Kenny Clark has been limited the past couple weeks, and he was limited both days here dealing with a toe injury. He should be good to go. Edrin Cooper, a limited participant on both days dealing with a hip injury. He should be good to go. Then you got Jonathan Ford dealing with a calf injury. He was a limited participant both days. Jenkins both days on limited participant dealing with a knee injury. Tucker Kraft dealing with a groin injury. He was not listed yesterday, but he was limited participant today, so we have to monitor that out. And Luke Musgrave goes on the IR, so that's a shame there, even though he didn't do much. Jordan Morgan will limited participant finally past 2 days dealing with a short injury, so hopefully he gets back into the rotation we would like to see. Zach Tom, full participant on both days. He should be good to go, dealing with a shoulder injury. Carrington Valentine, limited participant on both days. He was dealing with an ankle injury. Christian Watson, I don't know if he's going to play this week, but he's been a limited participant yesterday and today, which is a good sign. Deal with an ankle injury. And then the big thing so far within the past 2 weeks, Mike, has been Devontae Wyatt, who's had a very good season, and then he got injured with an ankle injury. He has not practiced at all this week and unlikely to play. Doubtful is what I'm going to say here, folks. And then to give it to the Cardinals side here, to give some measurement, there's not that much on the Cardinals side. You got Isaiah Adams, full participant, dealing with a thumb injury. Everyone else has been limited participant. The only issue I really see on the Cardinals side is Darius Robinson, a defensive lineman. He did not participate today, dealing with a calf injury. But that is so far the injury report I'm seeing on the Cardinals and the Packers, ladies and gentlemen. So there is that, and the Packers take it on the Arizona Cardinals, folks. So yeah, they'll be taking them on. The odds right now, what we are looking at here for the Packers, if it tells me real quick, thank you. The Packers are -5.5, folks. So they'll be interesting to see that. But no, I think this is gonna be a good game to see for the Packers. This is another test battle, Mike, to me personally, because you got to take care of business. And the Cardinals have been sneaky good of getting away with some of the wins, especially against the 49ers, who they're playing the Seahawks tonight and destroying the Seahawks right now. But they were sneaky against them. They also destroyed the Rams week 2, and they almost beat the Lions, lost that. Then they got destroyed by the Commanders. But They've been close and have kept games close though, Mike. So that is very interesting to me. And you got to watch out for Kyler Murray. You got to watch out for Martin Henderson Jr. Also James Carter, because he's been a stud. He's a power running back too. Defensively, they're a bit off. Their pass defense is their worst part. So I would see Packers utilize and attack that approach there, folks. Mike, what do you think about this game?
I think it's a really important game in the season. The Cardinals come in at 2-3, but they had a big game last week. Mm-hmm. So they got a little bit of momentum. The Packers are kind of coming in sleepwalking from the Rams. But it's at home. It's a game you have to win. This NFC North is relentless. I was thinking, like, we got by far the best division in the
NFL.
Like, you got the Vikings at 5-0, the Lions at 3-1, likely probably 4-1 if they didn't have to bye. Then you have the Bears at 3-2 and the Packers at 3-2. We're in last place right now, and we're got a winning record. So that's pretty exciting for the NFC North to have that good of performance so far this season. But it's going to be tough for the Packers. They got to keep it up. I mean, we are by far the best division in the league.
Yes.
Every other division, for the most part, either has a 2-3 team or 1-4 team. Nobody is winless at the moment, so that's interesting. It's usually you have a team that hasn't won at this point, but you have two undefeated teams in the Vikings and the Chiefs. But really exciting for the NFC North how good these teams have been. So you got to keep it up with them. The Cardinals are probably going to be playing for high in first place because right now the other two NFC West teams are playing Seahawks and 49ers, and the 49ers are killing the Seahawks. So the Seahawks and the 49ers are going to both be 3-3. So the Cardinals will be 3-3 if they beat the Packers. So it's a big game for them too. So this is a big game that could be a possible playoff matchup in theory.
Definitely.
And the Packers need this win. It's going to be big for tie-breaking procedures. It's a big game, and they need to win. Like keys of the game, things I'm looking for.
Yep.
I'm hoping the injury report is big. I think you mentioned. I'm hoping Jair comes back. I think it'll be big that Romeo and Christian Watson come back. I think I would like to give Romeo some playing time, especially after kind of what happened last week.
Yep.
Show him that there's no animosity there. I don't want anything kind of lingering because we do need Romeo, and we can't. We got to get that situation resolved. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Tucker Kraft continue his success from last week.
Definitely.
Josh Jacobs right now is number 5 running back in the league in terms of rushing yards. So I definitely want to keep feeding Josh Jacobs. I think winning on the ground is going to be big. I think we got to get to Kyler Murray, keep him contained in the pocket. Kyler Murray is very dangerous when he gets space. So it's going to be an important game for the rushers to not only get pressure, like we've been saying, but also stay diligent. Diligent and honest to their rushing lanes. That's gone. No, it's just short. Wow. Just short. Man, that looked good off the bat. Wow. That's the thing. Oh, man. Thank God.
So close. So close for his hopes, guys.
Wow. I thought that was gone. It tied the game. So it's still 3-1. Sorry, got off track. But, I think I want to see X get what do you call it? The 6th of the what do you call it? What's the record? Most consecutive games?
That is a great
question. Trayvon Diggs has gotten 6 before in the past few years. I think it's like 8 or 9. I think I looked it up. I think Trayvon Diggs got 6 like 2 years ago. So it's not actually like anything that's new because he did it just 2 years ago. But in order to get the lead, he has to keep doing it. So I hope we get another interception. What do you think about Narvison? Do you think he kind of redeemed himself a little bit against the Rams? He didn't have any misses, so
No, he didn't have any misses, which is good. He had some. It was a good rebound week, though, Mike, too, I would say, because honestly, that was terrible in Minnesota. And we were kind of on the fence about him. If he misses 2 more, like in a game, he's done. Like, we cannot handle it. And no, he did good. I would like to see it carry over again, like not just like a one game wonder. Need to see it continue, and he's got to start making them. Like, they had a nice 40-yard field goal, which was good, but like, gotta see it carry a bit more.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for the game. Definitely be watching. Back home, I'm not sure what the weather is going to be. But yeah, I'm excited. And hopefully, what I'm also excited is that one, we'll have John on the show. Well, I technically haven't asked him yet, but I'm sure he's going to join after to discuss. I'm excited for that. But two, what do you call it? I just, whenever somebody that we're friends with goes out for a game, I think it's a little bit more important for me that they win, because it kind of sucks to go out to Green Bay and lose. And, knock on wood, I haven't seen the Packers lose every time I've gone to Green Bay. But I haven't seen them win either. I haven't seen them win every game. Now, do you know what I'm talking about? I've never seen them lose, but I haven't seen them win every game.
Okay, I only know the one tie game. That's the only thing, Mike, I've only know about. But you did go to the Saints game. You went to the Bills game. You went to the Seahawks game.
Yeah, look at you remembering.
3-0 on that. You almost went to the NFC Championship game. Unfortunately, we lost the 49ers.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I can't think of anything else.
Remember when we did the live show from Lambeau Field? Or at least I was from Lambeau Field.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because of the preseason game. Yeah, that's true.
Right, the game didn't end. So it wasn't even a tie. It was just the game didn't even happen. All right, so I technically didn't go, and I've never seen a loss in Green Bay, but I haven't seen all wins either. So in the regular season, I've seen all wins. So that's good. But
that's good.
It would suck to go out there just to watch them lose. So
I've had that too many times, Mike. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Especially when you go watch a tie decided by the refs.
That was the tie. The Vikings. Yeah.
That was the worst one I ever been to. It was worse than a loss, I would say, personally.
Right, that was with the Clay Matthews I'm sorry, roughing the passer, right?
Roughing the passer.
And I got the interception.
He had the interception on that exact play.
Right. All right. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm sorry to everybody on the call, but on the show, but sorry for you for having to go out there and watch it.
Yeah, brutal for that. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, one thing that I think needs to get mentioned is the penalties, because we cannot clean up on the penalties. It has been ridiculous of how many times we have seen penalties, specifically offense and holding calls. Because how many times have we seen it, of every time you have a great play, holding. Something stupid call happens to us every single time. That needs to get cleaned up a bit more. Obviously, you mentioned before, contain. Kyle Murray, I think that's going to be a big thing. And I would say stuff the run. Force them out. Start the game quick, hot and fast, like you did in Detroit on Thanksgiving, and make them throw the ball a bit more. Obviously, it's getting Martin Harrison Jr., but I think if you make Murray throw the ball a lot more, then I think the Packers can have an advantage. And you got to win the turnover battles, like we mentioned before, because the Cardinals capitalized on the turnovers. That's how they won the 49ers game. If you attack that, then I think the Packers are going to win that game easily. So I would say that. And then attack the passing game. Attack that. Jordan Love, he's still a bit rusty. He's playing like Brett Favre out there, but we need to see a bit more Aaron Rodgers out of him. We need to see a bit more comfortability out there. And yeah, get the run game going. We need to see a lot more Josh Jacobs. And I would say Emmanuel Wilson too, because he's a little underrated to me, Mike.
Yeah, I think Emmanuel Wilson's had a good season. I think he really has. So I agree. Is there any talks about what's his name coming back, or is he on IR designated return?
AJ Dillon.
No, AJ Dillon's completely.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Marshawn Lloyd, yeah.
He's on the IR. He will return when he comes back. I don't know if he'll be the RB2 or the RB3. I don't know what he's going to be when he comes back, but he's scheduled to return back on schedule, though.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. So 1 o'clock game Eastern, 12 p.m. What do you call it? Central Time, and yeah, we'll be watching it closely.
Mm-hmm. Mike, will you get your score prediction on this?
Score prediction. I don't know. Didn't give it much thought. I'll take a shot. Let's say 31-17 Packers.
Wow, he's going confident, folks. I will say 27-17 Packers.
Pretty close.
Yeah. But yeah. No, we take the Packers here on this channel, folks. We take it for this week.
I agree. I think this is the Packers game. Like I said, I do think the Packers have a chance to get all four of these next 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And I think that'll be a really big part of the season.
Yeah.
But I'm not too happy with how they played against the Rams. So I really hope they have a bounce back this game. If they don't bounce back and they either lose or look flat again, I'm starting to get concerned. But I'm not concerned yet. But this is a big game for me. I'm hoping that they, win decisively and we're back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little bit healthier this week. Another week with Jordan Love from his injury.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't get back on track, I'm still pretty worried.
No, I definitely agree. You also gotta watch out for the rest of the people. You gotta watch out for the rest of the teams in the NFC, specifically the NFC North, because the Vikings aren't a bye this week. You got the Bears take on the Jaguars in London, so hopefully the Jags pull that out. Then, of course, you got your 4 o'clock game with the Detroit at Dallas. That's the revenge game because of what happened on Monday night last year. So we got to wait and see because the Cowboys did not look great against the Steelers, nor did the Jaguars. They haven't looked that great either, despite having 1 win. So you gotta stay with the pack at this point and then get ahead of the pack because you got to pull that back. Because the pack, we back. You got to pull it back.
Back. Well,
Pack it back, baby.
We're not. Once he goes, oh, I got it. Hey. Yeah. But that's funny. But all right, so it'll be a good game. Like you said, friend of the podcast, John will be there. So
yep.
Hopefully we'll get him on, talk about the game. If not next week, the week after, but hopefully next week.
Definitely. But folks, that will do a wrap here in the studio because we got to get to Mike's got to watch some baseball. I got to watch some football for fantasy hopes there, even though it's a blowout game. But got to watch a bit of that, folks. And yeah, we are here every Thursday. We try to do our best and to try do a Packers episode here on YouTube and X now. We have X now. And if you want to listen to more stuff of our content, go to Spotify and look up PackReacts. We got the Spotify there of our podcast. I'm trying to get to Apple. I've been busy, so I will try to get on that, Mike.
Yeah, and I know we haven't been perfect with the podcast this season, and that's on me, not on Jeremy. Jeremy's doing a great job. I'm like super busy at work. I got like 15,000 things going on, so I'm doing my best to make it here as much as I can. So I apologize if I'm not as good at it. But Jeremy's doing a great job, and he's had, some people come on in lieu of me. So he did 1 episode by himself. So thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
But no, we're excited to be back on X. I know a lot of people probably find us from X. So we are back. We didn't leave. We'll be, back on X for every episode moving forward. So hopefully we're back to week by week.
Yes,
but I can't promise, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but we'll do our best.
We will do our best, ladies and gentlemen. But as always, here on this show, we like to say it one couple words here and there. And what is that, Mike?
Go Pack, go!
Yes, go Pack, go!